This is awesome.
Gossie's gonna be catching them. He hasn't left over there, but I had 5 pounds on him. I need a 7-pounder, come on. There we go. There's a good one, I think, guys.
Come on, baby. Yes! That's how you win the tournament, a batch of those things. That's awesome.
Welcome, everyone. You're looking out at the beautiful Lake Harris for the second stop of the 2018 FLW Tour, presented by Lowrance. Good morning, I'm Travis Moran, alongside Rob Newell. Rob, we moved from Lake Okeechobee, the big round lake last month, now to the Harris chain of lakes, a bunch of small lakes. Break down the details on that.
Yeah, the Harris chain is really a very historical fishery in the state of Florida, Travis. It's well known. Lots of little bowls this time, not one big bowl, lots of little bowls, all connected by a canal system. You can either stay right in Harris, fish close there, don't have to run anywhere, or you can run the canals, go up to Griffin, you can go down to Apopka. There's a lot of options at this fishery.
I'm making a bit of a long run, kind of going to a place that not too many people fool with. It's a little bit of a risky run because it does take a lot of time, eats up a lot of time, but the quality's there.
Now, with that many options out there, Rob, we are seeing a lot of different faces, fishing an equal amount of different techniques. Explain a little bit of what we're going to be seeing.
Harris is a different animal this year, Travis. Normally, when I saw this on the schedule, I was thinking February, Harris chain, it's all about canals, it's all about sight fishing. That's what these guys will be doing. Totally different animal this year. A lot of offshore fishing going on this time. The fish are not up spawning like everybody thought there would be.
If you're not in the grass, you are on the offshore grass. You know, it's anywhere from 5 to 9 foot deep. We're catching pre-spawners, actually. When it happens, it's really gonna happen.
It's day 3. We started out with 188 anglers, day 1 and day 2. We trimmed them down to the top 30. Tomorrow is the 4th and final day, and only 10 are gonna move on and get to fish that. So we're gonna find out here coming up quick.
The morning bite has been hot for some of these guys. The first hour, that low light period, almost like a summertime bite, that's been the time to get it done. That's why these guys are racing off out in the water right now.
All right, let's go throw the dice.
Right now, the bass are in all 3 stages. That's pre-spawn, there's some fish spawning, and there's a lot of post-spawn fish. There's not a major wave of spawning fish up though. I think we missed that by about 2 weeks, and there's gonna be another big wave of fish come up here soon. But I think right now there's a few, but not what Harris chain's known for spawning fish.
All right, now right into the boat with Chris Johnston, who started the day in the #1 spot. Rob, he's coming off a top 10 finish at Okeechobee, getting some great momentum going in this tournament. Is there anything not to like about this guy?
I like what he's doing. He's got a good schooling pattern going in the morning. There's a little bit of a shad spawn going on there. If there's one thing that I may be a little reserved about on this, is that he has nothing going in the afternoon.
The area I'm fishing, I got one really key spot. It's a little indentation in the weed, and the wind's blowing in. There's a shad spawn there in the morning. I can only get bit till about 9 o'clock, but these fish are grouped up right in this pocket, and it's a lot of fun if they're there. I'm catching them all on jerk baits. If they're there, you can get right in a hurry.
Chris Johnson, the #1 spot to start the morning. Is he going to be able to carry this off, Rob?
Yeah,
Pretty good one.
he's been on fire so far this entire tournament. He was one of the first to kind of dial up this weird thing that's going on. We got an offshore bite in February at the Harris chain. Very, very odd situation going on here.
There's a couple nice ones with them, so good thing is this isn't a giant, but there's some here. It's a good sign. I just caught that one here. I'm literally just getting to the point where I caught him yesterday, so hopefully we can duplicate yesterday. Fish #1. Go on the small side.
Here is our first look at Matt Greenblatt, who started the morning in 3rd place.
Matt's from he lives down in Florida, and he has a pretty good idea of how these lakes operate down here.
Water temperature 78. Day 1, it was 81. Yesterday, we had the cold night. Woke up in the morning and the temperature had dropped about 7 degrees water temperature, and kind of had these fish a little slow to begin with, and they picked up as the sun came up. And you know, like Florida bass, they don't like that gorgeous day that fishermen like, the overcast, you know, little breeze. They don't like that. Here in Florida, the hotter the better. I live about 2.5 hours south of here, so this is not my first time here. I'm in love with these chain of lakes. They're clean. They really have taken good care of this place. And each year it gets better and better. The weights are proving it. You know, coming in, we thought it was going to be a straight spawn deal. We assumed wrong. I assumed when I got here that it was going to be a foot deep and beds everywhere. And the first day I got here, that so wasn't the case. And everybody that I trust and talk to, they said the same thing. It's just not happening. Early morning gamble paid off a little bit.
This is the part that kills you about this place. It's a great place to fish, but all these canals are idle zone in between all the lakes. So even though as the crow flies where we're going, it's not that far, it takes over an hour to get there because we have to go through from Harris through the Dead River into Eustis, through the Dora Canal into Dora, through a little small idle zone into Lake Beauclair, then down the Apopka Beauclair Canal into a lock, then out the canal into the lake and then across the lake. So it's quite the trip, but you know, it's really worth it, and hopefully we'll get to see some of that by the end of the day.
Now, this is our unofficial leaderboard that is current right now.
A lot of these names I'm looking at right there, I saw on the water, in open water. I mean, it's just, I can't get over how you know, the open, just the whole offshore thing has groups of guys all fishing together out there, and they're catching them. I mean, I watched them, you know, some of these guys wail on fish, 14, 15, 16 fish in a row, like one cast after another after another.
Some big names to watch for sure, Rob. And let's go to the man who was leading the event going into this morning. That's Chris Johnston from Canada.
I'm getting overall a lot better size than yesterday. Yesterday I was getting a lot of 12, 13 inches. And then the odd good one today, everyone I got's around 2. Not a bad thing, and you know there's 1 or 2 big ones mixed in there. And I think a lot of these big post-spawn females have already made it out to the middle of the lake in the hydrilla. The hydrilla has never been in the lake like it is this year. Normally the hydrilla is along the bank a little bit. You'll see everyone around the Kissimmee grass.
That one's smoked.
And this year, the whole middle of the lake is filled with nice, healthy hydrilla. It goes out to about 12 feet. And it's kind of frustrating because there's so much of it, and the bass are in groups and they're moving around in it.
Oh, don't get hung up in the net.
They're getting bigger. Take them. Number 3.
Off to a quick start for Chris Johnson, while Glenn Brown is still running to his first spot on the lake. FLW Tour action will continue right after this.
The FLW Tour is brought to you by Lowrance HDS Carpet. Find, navigate, dominate with Lowrance. Costa Del Mar. See what's out there. Yeti. Built for the wild. TH Marine. From transom to trolling motor. Power Pole. Swift, silent, secure. And by General Tire. Anywhere is possible.
It's a glorious day in Central Florida. Leesburg in Lake County is surrounded by some beautiful lakes that all together form the Harris Chain of Lakes, where 30 pros are out looking for big bass that will move them on to the final day.
One of the things I like about this is, yes, it's a big commitment, so I knew a fair amount of the field wouldn't come here. So I knew that the boat ride would deter some people, and then the watercolor deters some people. Everybody thinks they need to come to Florida and fish kind of clean, clear water. Well, This lake, you can catch them in this dirty, nasty water.
Glenn Brown sat out all last season and missed the first tournament this year. He's got to feel good about this first event back.
Yeah, it's good to have Glenn back in competition here. You know, he battled colon cancer all through 2017. He beat it, now he's back. And check him out down there at Apopka doing his own thing.
Yeah. You know, after going through all this cancer stuff and whatnot, you know, there's a few things that brought me through it. My family, of course, and my girlfriend, you know, they were right there by my side the whole time. And then my love for fishing, you know. We're all competitors here, and you know, when you sit there and you watch FLW live and you can't go and you're used to being there, it's rough. And that was kind of my motivation, you know. I've pushed myself to get back as healthy as I could so I could get back fishing. You know, fishing is my medicine. You know, I went as much as I could, even while I was going through treatments, and I fished some Costa Series events. So I tried to still fish as much as I could. I couldn't fish the tour, but I tried to still fish as much as I could. I flipped in there and just everything just went, it's like, he got it.
There's our top 10. So actually we've had some already lead changes. Sometimes that just means some guys caught fish earlier than others, because we've got a lot of guys that haven't even caught any. Gagliardi is already way up in there. Jeff Gustafson started the day way down, you know, in the 20s, and now is already up in the top spot as well. So some big names already kind of switching around. Rob, we've got a lot of guys out there doing many different techniques, trying to put those final pieces in place to move on to day 4. And that's a perfect time now to talk about General Tire's roadmap to victory.
Yeah, Travis, 3 key things I'm looking at here. One is staying flexible in your area. A lot of these guys are fishing big areas, half a mile, 3/4 of a mile areas. Don't get too locked in on one specific spot or one bait. Bounce around in those areas. These fish are very transient. They're moving around. Don't get stuck on one clump or this clump. You got to keep moving and keep switching baits. The other thing is little tiny clues. I mean, something as subtle as just when these shads spawn, they'll dimple the surface. Something that looks different out there. Chris Johnson's talking about white bass in his area. They come up schooling, he'll catch them out of the corner of his eye. Just as small as the size of the openings that people like Glenn Brown are flipping. I mean, they're very tiny. The size is a huge key. And of course, we always say this in Florida, big bites. This is turning into a slugfest. You have to have 2 big fish a day in that 5 to 7, 8 pound range to walk away with this thing.
I need the wind, I need the clouds. The wind helps me, pushes me along and makes me drag this slower because I'm throwing it with the wind. By the time I catch up with it, it's almost like dead sticking.
And now we join Tony Demetrius. Rob, he had a monster bag, almost 23 pounds yesterday. He's got to like his chances going into this morning.
Yeah, it looks like the leader's throwing some reaction baits, but now Demetrius, check this out. First guy we're gonna look at dragging a worm.
Stay on. And I'm dragging it real slow. I mean slow. The way they're biting, I'm putting it right in their face because it's like they lock onto it and swallow it before I realize it because they're not tugging until I pull, and then they tug. I'm thinking I'm in the grass, and I'll pull on it, and I'm thinking I'm in the grass, and I'll give another pull, and I'll feel a tug, and then I set the hook.
Yeah! A guy that's certainly searching, certainly looking physically for a 10-pounder is Glenn Brown here on the south side of Apopka.
I don't think Apopka either has the vegetation base offshore that Harris has right now in terms of cleaning up water and creating those gaps and clean areas. So if these fish are gonna spawn, this is the stuff they have to come to.
That's a good one there. That's a big one there. Pow! That's a good number 5.
Glenn Brown really starting to put the pieces together today and flip himself back into this event, Rob.
Yeah, it started to look like we might have had a Chris Johnson runaway train, but now looks like Glenn is literally reeling him back in.
More to come on the FLW Tour here on the Harris Chain of Lakes, presented by Lowrance, when we come back.
There we go. There it is.
Check this out. They're gorging on bluegill before they go into spawn.
Welcome back. It's day 3 here on the Harris Chain of Lakes. This event presented by Lowrance. And we have seen all the action coming from 2 lakes, Harris and Apopka. Florida pro Glenn Brown likes the dirty water down in Apopka for the flipping that he's doing today.
It makes it easier to catch when it's this dirty because they can't see you. You can get right up on top of them. I mean, as you see, I'm conventional flipping a lot, not pitching. You know, that's so I can get it. You know, it's hard when you got all these things you're trying to get into a little hole that's, you know, 6 inches around or a foot around. So you got to be kind of a little more precise. You almost have to drop it in from a little height instead of, you know, when you pitch, it's at a little bit lower plane. So I'm having to kind of actually conventionally flip to kind of get it in where I want to. It's a big one too, giant.
Seems like Glenn Brown is really honed in to a great pattern right now.
Yeah, a lot of confidence flowing in that guy right there.
Well, it's not a giant, but he's a good one. Catching them like that, that's the kind we need, some more of those. Be fishing tomorrow.
That big one, Travis, is right on time. It tells him he is doing everything to perfection right now.
I think Glenn Brown's on a little different program and he's just catching good ones. So he's got consistent fish, whereas myself and a lot of these other guys fishing the hydrilla, if you don't get 1 or 2 of those key bites throughout the day, then you're not gonna get that 20 pounds. Because we're getting like a 5, 6, or 7 pounder, and then you've got some 2 pounders in your bag too, so could be a good one. It's heavy. This is my 3rd year fishing the tour. My first year was a great year. I finished 2nd in points to Andy Morgan. My 2nd year didn't go so well. Just couldn't do anything right. And this year, it started out right. I made a top 10 in Okeechobee. I should make a top 10 here today. And just when things start going right, you get a little momentum, and seems like you can't do anything wrong. You pull up to a spot, you catch one, and you make the right calls. It feels like everything's just in a groove, and you just feel good fishing, and you're confident in what you're doing. Take a few more of those.
Tony Demetrius off to a slow start today, and with how many fish he was seeing yesterday, Rob, what's going through his mind? Is he thinking about change, or does he have enough confidence to stay on this technique?
The way Tony is fishing in this tournament is a slow and steady way to fish. And this type of fishing, he's not fast and furious. He knows it takes some time, and it'll come.
I hate fishing slow. I wish I could just shoot on down that way, turn around, come back. But you can see they're sluggish for some reason. Either they ate too much, or they're just, I don't know. I'm guilty of being fast. I'm a spinnerbait guy. I want to go down the bank and just throw a spinnerbait and just keep going. And when I got into this game here of fishing tournaments, I realized I have to change my evil ways. So I started dragging a worm, and it's paid off a couple times. Hee-haw! Get in the boat, man. Don't do that. A lot of guys are going in through the grass to the backs there where the beds are, which I know because I went in there. And I said, I'm not doing that. I'm staying out here. I think they're out here waiting to go in, and that's what they're doing. What do you think? 6 pounds, maybe? Oh, my goodness gracious.
Time is up here on day 3. Who is going to make that top 10 cut and move on to the 4th and final day? Chris Jones is here to weigh him in.
He's got a 5 bass limit, 19 pounds and 3 ounces for John Hunter. Jared McMillan, 20 pounds and 11 ounces. Buddy Gross, 23 pounds and 9 ounces. Guy who knows how to catch them. He's been to the Cup, Jeff Gustafson. 20 pounds, 5 ounces.
I live up in Canada, and we have 3 feet of snow on the ground, 3 feet of ice on our lakes, and so it's pretty nice being in Florida right now.
A former Forrest Wood Cup champion, 24 pounds and 13 ounces. Anthony Gagliardi makes the biggest move so far.
I figured in order to make a jump, I was gonna have to do something different. And so I decided to make a move and run in and start fishing shallow. And the first place that I got to, I caught a big one right off the bat. And just kind of got me in the groove there.
Fresh off a top 10 finish, 16 pounds and 12 ounces. Chris Johnston, I think you got like a 14-ounce lead, man. This thing, all of a sudden, it's tight.
Yeah, I left the door open a bit today. I got all good ones. I never got a kicker bite, and that's what these lakes are known for, is big fish. And you need to get one or two of those to put you over the top and get that 20-pound bag, and it didn't happen today.
Chris Johnston manages to hold on to his lead. But the Evinrude big mover of the day goes to South Carolina's own Anthony Gagliardi, who jumped 18 places from 22nd to 4th with almost a 25-pound stringer of bass. And now here's a look at the top 10 anglers that'll be advancing to the 4th and final day. And with 2 Canadians making the cut, there's a real international feel to this tournament. And speaking of global fishing, FLW has really expanded its reach over the past few years. In 2015, FLW launched an international division to advance bass fishing as a worldwide sport. The division has been blowing up ever since. Canada was the first country to partner with FLW to provide its anglers with another opportunity to get on the road to the Forest Wood Cup.
And since then, we've added 7 more countries, so we have 8 total countries operating outside the United States. Canada, China, Korea, Italy, Mexico, Spain, Portugal, and South Africa.
Come on, good job.
The whole idea behind the program is to provide local events in each host country where anglers can compete on their home waters and then earn the right through a series of tournaments to come to the United States to compete.
You know, FLW runs more tournaments than anybody in the United States, and it's only fitting now that we have an international division where these guys can come to the Costa Championship and have a chance to go to the Forest Wood Cup.
FLW is really pushing hard to grow the sport and make it more diverse. We're doing that through our high school program, we're doing that through our college program, and we're definitely doing it through our FLW International program.
FLW prides itself on promoting the growth of bass fishing on a global scale. But it all starts on a personal level, when anglers from all walks of life and from all corners of the globe come together to compete.
The anglers, a lot of them, the first time come to the United States, so it's totally a new experience. Almost everybody wants to come back again.
I know that we learn just as much from them as they learn from us, and I think as a whole, it makes the sport even better.
Anglers come to the United States, they're fishing with US pros. They don't need language, they cannot communicate sometimes, but they are very excited, they learn a lot.
And what we've all gotten to know over the course of this time at the Costa Championship is that we all speak the same language. We're all here with our common bond, which is fishing.
And we're proud of the fact that that culture expands beyond borders. The language may be different when we go to Mexico, it may be different when we go to China, or when the anglers from Korea come here, but the language of fishing unites us. We may be 9 countries, but we're one family.
You know, I've been fortunate enough to be at the last 2 Costa Championships where the international angler won their division and got qualified for the Forest Wood Cup, and it was really cool to see. Got to visit with them at the Cup, all their family came. It was really a cool experience.
So we guarantee international representation at the Forest Wood Cup, which is a great thing because when those guys compete at the Costa Championship and win that spot, they go home heroes, and then they get to come back to the Forest Wood Cup and compete for the biggest payday in bass fishing on an international stage.
FLW has always called its anglers the best in the world, and with the international division, we truly are.
Fishing League Worldwide is living up to its name, with anglers from other countries competing on the tour and even more joining the international division. It's clear that the Forest Wood Cup has become the true world championship of bass fishing.
Need one of those big kickers. You catch 1 or 2 of those big ones like I had yesterday, and you make a jump, and you can catch the kind of bag that it would take, you know, for somebody in my position to you know, have a shot to win. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to see if we can't get a couple of those big ones.
It's the last day of this 4-day tournament, and Gagliardi doing everything he could yesterday to move up from the 22nd spot to make this top 10 field. But Rob, a lot of other big names doing some different techniques and really showing a lot of action yesterday to make this field of 10 and a chance at $125,000 today.
I've sort of been doing the same thing since the first day of practice, and I've got quite a few areas to fish, and I'm pretty confident that I'm gonna, have a shot at some good bites today doing what I'm doing.
Travis, there's been some huge surprises in this thing. I thought we were going to be in canals bed fishing. I thought we were going to be up there around the bank. All offshore. Will that bite continue? Glenn Brown, some of those guys are starting to catch them shallow. I'm looking to see some fireworks today.
Fireworks indeed. I hope we do see a lot of action today, and the guys are getting ready down on the docks.
It's the Harris chain, and you can catch two 8-pounders and 2 casts out here. Someone could weigh 25 to 30 pounds, and I think someone's going to get a big weight, and I'm really hoping I can crack over 20 today and hang on to this lead and take home $125,000.
Rob, to win one of these events, you first have to make it to the final day. And John Hunter squeaked in that 10th spot to keep his dream alive.
One big bite for this guy, and he starts to go to the top.
Winning this tournament would be everything. I mean, that's what every bass fisherman dreamed of. Since I was a little kid, I've always dreamed of the moment of possibly winning one of these tournaments. I set my alarm every morning as a kid at like 7 a.m. to watch the TV shows and go out and practice it at the little pond by my house. And now I'm here doing it, and it's a dream come true just to be here fishing. Pulled up. I had a fish I saw on a bed a couple days ago. I pull up there, I decided to throw a prop bait over the bed. I don't even know if it's there. And boom, 5-pounder comes up and eats it. I land it. So that was a pretty nice start to the day when you have to make up a huge deficit.
Yeah, we start the morning. Oh man. Oh. Wow. That's how you start day 4. Yeah.
And now to Chris Johnston, not making a long run, gets to start fishing real quick.
Yeah, that's a good thing, Travis, because this morning window he has for these schoolers is very, very small. He needs every minute he can get.
Feel better if I get a decent one in the boat here, but at least there's some fish here. This is what I was catching on day 2 when it weighed 24 pounds, and then I'd get the odd big one. So just gonna keep chucking in this little pocket here, and hopefully one of these times I go to pull this jerkbait and it just locks up. I started off this morning in the same spot I fished the last 2 mornings, and it's a deep hydrilla edge. There's a little pocket in it. I spot lock right on the edge of it, and I kind of fan cast this pocket. They're gonna have to get a lot bigger than this though if we want to win $100,000.
Chris has basically identified 2 major feeding windows on these offshore schools. One is the first thing in the morning, and then they really kind of shut off, and he says they start rallying again right about 3 p.m. They come back to life and they start feeding again. It's that period of time before, from 10 until 2:30 that he struggles, and then that's when, his pursuers gain ground on him.
Dang it. Little one.
And Tony Demetrius, fishing slow, fishing the worm, staying to the game plan that he has used all 4 days so far.
Yep, you're looking at how he's been getting those big bites with that worm real slow.
I know that's going to happen in any tournament, people like that. I've heard horror stories about that. I said, what? Come on, this can't be happening. Well, maybe stirred him up. How's that? I'm panicking. I'm thinking I got to go to my other 3 spots and see if I can get 5 fish. Woo! You're thinking, is this a bite or is this hydrilla? Bam, 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 and then you set that hook and just hard. And then it was on. Oh shoot! Don't that! Come on!
Oh, Rob, did you
That's
do
a
it
big
again?
one. That's a big one right there. I mean, that's a 6 or 7 pounder.
Mr. Consistent on the big fish.
She gave me a fight as far as coming in the boat, but I got her in there.
The fireworks have begun. Rob, what do you think about Demetrius getting yet another big fish?
Hey, there's something to be said for getting your kicker right off the bat.
Don't go anywhere, plenty more action when we return.
It's a solid 3.5 pounder.
Welcome back, everyone. It has been an amazing morning so far. We started with 188 boats only a few days ago, and there's only 10 battling it out for up to $125,000 payday. Chris Johnson, the #1 spot. And now one of the other Canadians in our top 10 field, Jeff Gustafson. And just like Chris Johnson, he's taking advantage of that early morning bite.
Yeah, you even heard Johnston say that Gussie is the guy that put him on this pattern, put him on the bait, and now these two guys are gonna duke it out.
This particular little stretch I'm fishing, it's like 10 feet deep, and there's pretty thick hydrilla up in front of us, and I'm sort of out off the edge of it, and there's just scattered stuff out here. And I'm basically letting it sink to the bottom and just kind of ripping it, just trying to sort of be ticking something.
So they come back and get it.
Yep.
Those fish are fighting over that bait.
That's what we're looking for, boys. I am like a cluster right now. Come on, baby. Not a huge one, but those are solid, and that's the limit. I got a huge one coming up though, just wait.
First look at our two Canadians in the split screen, Gussie and Johnston. The Canadian guys seem to have the Florida events figured out this year.
It's no accident that Johnston and Gussie and Jared McMillan have all done well in these first Florida events. And a lot of that is because of a strong friendship connection. They share information, they share everything. That's where a lot of it comes from.
Oh, I got like all 2 to 2.5 pounders.
I don't know why, but I think this spot's better in the afternoon.
I got like 7 or 8 of them.
Yeah?
Just nothing big.
Right in here? That's the sweet spot.
How big are your other ones?
I got a couple 3s and then a couple 2s.
So you got more than 15.
Well, the small ones might not even be 2s. I don't know. They're little ones, but.
He's cracking them. So I think I had about a 5-pound lead on him, but he's already got, by the sounds of it, probably 16, 17 with a little one. So he's been very consistent. So as of right now, he's probably in the lead.
This window's been extended, Travis. He was done. This place was done yesterday when the sun broke the horizon.
Mm-hmm. He said by 8:15 he couldn't buy a bite. And now we're going past 9 o'clock right now. He's got to be excited. This is all good news for him.
Yeah. Decent one. Not the kicker I'm looking for, but it'll work. You ever eat that? Little upgrade.
Glenn Brown really not worried about getting that fast start. He knows the day is going to come to him. As that sun goes up, those fish will start being a little bit more active.
Yeah, he's got about an hour and a half boat ride. That's not a problem for him. 10:30 to 2:30 is his window.
I'm fishing all new water. I haven't ever fished right here. I mean, the better bites have all come after 10 o'clock anyhow. I just got to stay on fresh water. I mean, I know the cover, what I need to be fishing. I just got to keep in clean water. I'm fishing kind of the whole south end of the lake, and I'm just running little stretches of arrowheads, and the fish are spawning in them. And I'm just kind of running down the bank, and I've practiced a lot of it, but there's some I'm just pulling in and fishing. If it looks good, I just pull in there and fish it, and just keep moving and hitting the stuff that looks right. I've laid 3 flipping sticks on the deck each day. You know, I've got them set up with a 1/2 ounce weight and a Gambler Ugly Otter, and I've just flipped and flipped and flipped and flipped. And it's worked out really good for me this week.
Pretty nice, pretty nice.
Now over to Gussie. Already has a limit this morning, including a 4-pounder and a 3.5 unofficially.
There's a good one, I think, guys. This is why I fished this spot. Come on, baby. Yes! Woohoo! Oh, yeah. That wakes you up. That's a chunk. Look at that.
Well done, Gussie.
Thing looks like a pollywog. Look at it.
White chatterbait. That's how you win the tournament, a batch of those things.
Jeff Gustafson really getting things going right now. He's making a big climb in the leaderboard.
Hopefully this is karma coming back around for Gussie. I mean, he kind of got on this pattern. He shared it with Johnson. They've both been doing it for 4 days. Now it's coming down to the end. Sure would be nice to see maybe Gussie get a win.
Lots more fishing action on the last day here on the Harris Chain when we return.
The FLW Tour is brought to you by Ranger Boats, still building legends one at a time. Real Tree Fishing, the official pattern of FLW. Bass Pro Shops, your adventure starts here. BRP Evinrude, learn more at evinrude.com. Polaris, the world leader in off-road vehicles. And by Mercury Marine. Go boldly.
Something is definitely changing though, because I'm not catching any. I think they are abandoning the bank.
Might have made the wrong move. That's the thing that gets me about Florida. It's so hard to catch them 2 days in a row down here. You think you got them figured out, and the next day is 100% different.
It's just been like clockwork. Every day at this time they turn on. Not gonna lie, it is pretty cool. Possibly being one bite from a win. It's a good feeling to have.
Things are going pretty good, about how it's been all week. You know, you grind it out here, and you go sometimes an hour, hour and a half, you don't get a bite, and then you get a little flurry or you get a big one, and that's just how it's been. So I'm pretty confident that I can, get a couple more good bites here today.
We are back with our fourth and final day on the second stop of the 2018 FLW Tour presented by Lowrance here on the Harris Chain of Lakes.
This tournament's been full of surprises, Travis. It's a good thing I'm not a betting man. If you'd have told me when you get to Lake Harris in February, it's gonna be like a summer schooling pattern, I would have said, right. I just knew we would be looking at canals, bed fishing.
We've seen a lot of Lake Harris kickers over the last few days.
I'm spending all my time fishing offshore. There's tons of big fields of hydrilla out there, and I'm, just fishing the edges of it, fishing on top of it, just fishing around the grass. There's a pile of big bass out there. There's one, that feels all right. Yes. Oh. Bear hug that sucker, that's a 3-pounder.
Another sign that schooling bite is firing up.
Another thing, Rob, Gussie talked about watching Chris catch a few at the end of the day yesterday, so they both come back into this little funnel and look for that same flurry.
They're fishing 2 different areas, and whenever one catches one, the other guy catches one. When they have lulls, they both have lulls. That's just amazing to me.
Gussie's gonna be catching them. He hasn't left over there. But I had 5 pounds on him. I need a 7-pounder, come on.
Talk about sharing the information and stuff. These guys are definitely helping each other max out both of their own potential.
It's a new lake. I mean, you wouldn't think that a lake like this that's been in Florida for eons could become a new lake, and it just tells you what new habitat
this could be a big one.
Does for a lake.
Good one.
Turns, just completely turns. What makes the whole sport so much fun. Things are always changing.
It's not a giant, but it's a good one. Jeez, almost fell in. Go on. Whew. There we go. That's the right one. Couple more of those.
We're pretty good buddies, and I know if I don't win, I certainly hope that he does today, so. There we go. That feels maybe all right. Oh yeah, it's a giant, dude. Look out, look out, look out.
Rob, this is neck and neck right now. It's coming down to the wire.
Yeah, I'm totally wiped out, and I hadn't even made a cast. I mean, this is gonna come down to rod, very last cast.
4-pounder anyways. That's an upgrade.
We're moments away from crowning a champion, so don't go anywhere. FLW Tour action continues after this.
Got him. Whew. There we go. Couple more of those. Yes. Sweet.
See what they weigh today. I don't think there's any shot, but you know, it was fun because we had a chance out today. We had the bites to have a real big sack, but we got a decent bag, so might move up a few places and make a few more $1,000, which is sweet.
Unfortunately, I never got that kicker I was hoping for today, and the one to kind of put me over the top. So I think I'm going to come up a little short, but still had a great tournament and a lot of fun fishing here on the Harris Chain.
The first 2 days I had a few big fish, but I also weighed in a few, little squeakers, so those kind of hurt me a little bit, but I got a really solid average today and, caught quite a few, so I'm pretty happy.
Time's up on the water for our field of 10 anglers. And now it's time for us to take a look at our Mercury moment. Jeff Gustafson had a total game changer when he was debating whether to leave this spot or not and hooked a monster bass. Congratulations, Gussie. Your game changer is our Mercury moment. It's time to find out who's gonna take this thing. We're gonna send it over to Chris Jones for the final weigh-in.
Showtime! What's up, Leesburg? Word on the street, man, is that Leesburg is the place to be. And the FLW Tour is the thing to see. 7 pounds, 14 ounces separated 10th place from first, and that is one cast on the Harris Chain of Lakes. So you guys ready to get this thing going? A 5 bass limit! 21 pounds and 11 ounces of Harris Chain bass. You went from 10th to first.
This lake's absolutely on fire. I got to go out and fish how I like to fish. I got to get out off the bank and some scattered hydrilla and throw a 6-cent provoke jerkbait till my arm was about to fall off.
A 5 bass limit for the Texas Pro Kurt Dove. 5 today for Matt Greenblatt.
From Belglade, Florida, Jared McMillan.
What you got, baby? Is it the stuff? Wow! That helps the cause. Love the sign. Wow! Great fish for Georgia's Buddy Gross. 14 pounds and 9 ounces moves you up to second place to dethrone John Hunter. You need 20 pounds even. Wow! 21 pounds and 3 ounces. You got the lead.
4-pounder.
You need 18-1. You're sitting right now with about 7.5 pounds. So the question is, do you have the 2 kickers? A 5 bass limit. 15 pounds even moves you to third. Well, you stay in third place.
It's a big one.
Wow! Tony Demetrius, another kicker, drops you from second to sixth with 68 pounds, 8 ounces, but a great job this week. Great tournament for Tony Demetrius.
It's actually fun when you're catching some.
He knows what success looks like.
I owe Gussie big time because I caught these 2 on the bait he gave me last night. So it's gonna be close, but I owe him.
A 5 bass limit for Ontario's Chris Johnston. Looking for 15 pounds. A 5 bass limit today for Canada's Chris Johnston. 5 worth 17 pounds, 6 ounces. Your champion is Chris Johnston. The Canadian getting it done on Championship Sunday.
On behalf of Lowrance, I'm going to present this check for $125,000.
The money spins, but the hardware lasts forever.
That's gonna look good on the mantle. The money is awesome, like you said, and I've been so close to winning Costas, tour events, and the final day has been a curse for me. And I'm so glad to finally break this curse, maybe rub it in a bit to my brother, and I might put this above his mantle for a couple weeks, just so he can look at it.
Your champion, Chris Johnston, getting it done on Championship Sunday. $125,000 richer.